Good morning. Welcome to the No Way Jose podcast. This is the morning dump. It's Wednesday, July 15th. I'm your host, Jose Galison, and this is the kitty of the day, little Kittler. As you guys can see, he does have kind of like a perfect little Hitler mustache. Hell, he even has a little bit of a kind of almost little, he's almost got a little bit of emo Hitler thing going on with his coloring, but hey, whatever. Little Kittler, little mustache, he's a sweet little fella. He'll be going to his new home this weekend. Hopefully his new family finds that just as fun as I do, but he is a super sweet boy either way. As you can tell, we will miss him here. But I already got other kitties, so hey, we'll have a new group of kitties coming in weeks to come. But then we can show you Jeff and some of the other guys. Now, if you like seeing my hot takes Monday through Friday, typically around 11 a.m. Eastern, we're almost on time today, a little late. Then be sure to hit that subscribe button and hit that bell for notifications. That way you can see when we're going live and we're dropping new videos. And if you just want to see the kitties too, that works as well. Do the same. We'll see you in the show.
Beautiful thing right now.
Rise and shine. It's a beautiful day.
I am alright.
About a third of the building has been blown away.
This is the bridge to white light.
Our very freedom came under attack in a series of deliberate and deadly terrorist acts.
And at that point, we were taken for another round of questioning, this time related to our allegedly being members of Mossad.
Crazy evil.
Good morning, everyone. Hope you're having a good morning. As you're rolling in here, help up homie out, hit that like button. We have plenty to talk about today. As always, we start this show off with Icebreaker Content, the fun, the funny, the gem pop slop, little try to keep it light to start off with. Today will be no exception, and then we will get into the foreign policy roundup, talk about the latest, the daily World of War update, and then we will get into Fedslop versus Psyslop. Just going to let you guys know it's going to be a very, very Kirky episode today. Very Kirk heavy. We do have another segment after that, but I'm not entirely sure if we'll make it into that. We have a ton of Charlie Kirk stuff to talk about today. Ton of Tyler Robinson. More covering of the preliminary trial and the fallout. But if we do get through all that and we have extra time, we have the Israeli MAGA influencer op. There's been some new revelations in regards to some of the paid Israeli influencers over here in the States, particularly of the MAGA variety. But with that, let's go ahead and get into Icebreaker Content. Oh yeah, quick little reminder, little housekeeping. For those who are not familiar with this show, the format, I call this an info dump show, just kind of throwing a bunch of different things I bookmarked on Twitter, different articles here and there, clips, yada, yada, yada. Throw them together with a kind of a rough semblance of segments, and ta-da, here you go. Most of that is stuff we're kind of trudging through together for the first time. Sometimes it's stuff I've thought about or processed this information, but most of it's kind of on the news side of things and just kind of digging through. So it's an info dump. And if you are someone who's not here from the live show, I do like to remind you guys that we do, to accommodate you beautiful people, we leave timestamps in the video/podcast description. Most platforms allow you to just hyperlink it to where you can just jump right to the timestamp you want to go to. But either way, I put that in there for those who aren't here for the live experience. That way you can bounce around to whatever segment you want, and that way you can avoid the chat banter that we keep to the end of each segment. Now, if you are here for the live experience, I do try to give everyone at least one good morning. After that, you got to catch my interest or catch my wallet. wallet being Super Chat. So you can support the show in that way, or you can just do a regular support over here at Patreon. Here in the top left-hand corner, we got a QR code you can use, or it's patreon.com/nowayjose2020. You'll get a whole host of perks there. Or you could just drop a super chat. That way we can read it. But with that, let's go ahead and get into some icebreaker content, the fun, the funny. Now to start off, I gotta say, for one time, here it is. Good job, Donald Trump. That's what I have to say here. I think maybe I feel the anarchism slipping away from me right here. Apparently, the House has passed legislation to make daylight savings time permanent nationwide. Let's fucking go. Ending the twice-a-year clock changes by a 308 to 117 vote. I'm not generally in favor of, crazy, corporal punishment, but I believe the 117, they have walls for that. They have walls for that. For those who would dare to vote. Who the fuck is voting against that in 2026? Someone in the chat, please tell me, what are the benefits of daylight savings time in today's world? Was it even true? I always heard the wives' tale was like, it was for farming or whatever to make it easier. That way give you extra daylight, to help, so that way the kids could help out with the farm while still going to school. No idea if that's legit, but it's just an incredible annoyance, especially someone who's just podcasts, and I regularly schedule podcasts with people all over the world. It is quite annoying dealing with this little ism of our time system that we have set up here. Throws a few wrinkles every once in a great while. If we could just get on the same page, that'd be cool. Now, if we could just get rid of time zones, that's the next move. Just, hey, whatever. I'm sorry. If it's daylight at 8 p.m. or if it's daylight at 11 p.m. for you, and that's just the way that you are, wherever you are in the world, no, we got to get on the same page. Everyone's the same time. Make it easy. That's the move. But hey, this is a step in the right direction, getting rid of daylight savings time. So big ups, Donnie. I feel the anarchism slipping away. I'm becoming one of them. I'm becoming a statist, guys. But all right, one last thing in the icebreaker realm. This is kind of getting ahead of something. I didn't really have a neat place to put this in our coming Kirk coverage here for today. So I figured, hey, do it here, icebreaker, in the icebreaker portion of the show. Apparently, we've had this thing going around. Apparently, Nick Shirley and Tyler Robinson are first cousins. I've seen it reported a few different places. The reporting is based on Grok, by the way, just to get ahead in front of that. The sourcing here is Grok. But here's someone, Spencer Hakimian. Nick Shirley and Tyler Robinson are first cousins, he says. Nick Shirley was Charlie Kirk's last ever guest. And then he shared a picture of someone's Grok search that says, yes, according to public Utah family records and genealogy details shared online, Tyler Robinson and Nick Shirley's mothers, Amber Jones Robinson and Brooke T. Jones / Shirley, are half sisters sharing the same father. That makes the two men half first cousins. Now, Nick Shirley's already come out of. I know it's a fun one. It would be fun if that were true. But Nick Shirley's already come out in front of this. Grok does gay shit like this, so you always got to be careful when the sourcing is Grok. I mean, he's already responded to a few different posts out there, posting pictures of his family tree. So here's Cuck Turds is what the fuck. Nick Shirley and Tyler Robinson are cousins. And then there's a community note on that one. It says, this post attempts to make factual claims regarding the grandparents of Nick Shirley. This information is contradicted by a post from Nick Shirley himself. Posters' later comments in the thread state this information was derived from Grok by XAI. This is just something hallucinated by Grok, it seems. Here's Nick Shirley posting his family. He's saying it's completely false. Here's my family tree for proof. Says tagged community notes in it as well. So here you go. You can see his Nick Shirley, his parents. He blocked out one of his parents, but I mean, I guess it was kind of like, why dox somebody if I don't need to? But he showed his mom as Brooke Crowley. whatever. You guys can go look at this on your own to verify on your own time if you want to double check. I think it seems fairly legit. For example, he says my mother's maiden name is Crowley, whereas they're saying his mother is, I believe, Jones. It was her maiden name, so they don't even have the correct maiden name. So, hey, it looks like it's been debunked. But hey, if you do want to find something to make fun of Nick Shirley for, here's something. Apparently, he went on Alex Jones and told Alex Jones that a congressman told him at the White House 250 that he said, this is the quote, he said, "Because of all the fraud that you've exposed, essentially the war in Iran has been free because of you." Now, to be clear, I was quoting Nick Shirley, who I'm sure is paraphrasing somebody else that makes it confusing. But yeah, so apparently Nick Shirley has saved the government about $102 billion. I think that's the current tally, $102 billion in 120 days, I believe, is the latest report of what's going on in Iran. So we are to believe, I guess, that Nick Shirley, through his tackling the Somali problem, has completely, essentially nullified the negatives of the Iran war. So thank you, Nick Shirley. A big thank you from me and all the fellow dumpers. Fucking Nick Shirley. Good job, buddy. But with that, let's roll in the chat, say some good mornings, and then we will get into some foreign policy coverage for the day. Good morning, Cuberta Bo. Good morning. Saying I'm late and gay. It was like 15 minutes. Whatever. Get off my back. Good morning, OG Matzo Ball says good morning. Get that kitty applying for art school. Tom33 also pointing out that I am on Colored People time today. John Black marveling that I am wearing an actual t-shirt. I can't see his beastly arms. Oh, well, you're welcome. Oh, here you go. They're not even that big. I don't know. I'm glad you guys boost my ego, but hey, I was feeling a little cold this morning, so I put on a t-shirt. Tom says, is the Clunt Rizzle / Tim Drool beef worth looking into? Is it gay shit like I assumed? I mean, how do I say it? I'm talking about today. I'll go. I already have it in the slide. So that's actually the only real reason we even kind of came back to this, because we talked about this, not the last dump, but the previous dump. We talked about all this, and I sort of felt like, I mean, I figured we maybe at some point have to do another segment, but it's been pushed to the fore since literally we sort of covered some Kirk stuff the other day. And then literally like the main, I think, topic, I guess, of discussion that we were kind of circling around that day, the whole Shapiro getting calls from Kirk security thing. We commented on that, and I think we used, I say we, me, and Clint was one of the posts that we were using there. I think one of the focal tweets we were using there. He was quote tweeting Candace. And then, funny enough, now this whole thing is like, as you pointed out here, for those who aren't aware, this Clint Rizzle Tim Drool beef, it literally spawned off of that exact tweet. So this became this whole quote tweet beef between Tim and Clint, and so it's taken on a whole new life on its own. So I feel like we got to cover it because it was just kind of this weird thing where like it wasn't really a whole big thing yet. Yeah, I know Candace had talked about that whole thing, but it hadn't blown up into a whole bigger thing. And then Clint, then I had talked about on the show, and then I was covering Clint stuff, and then Clint shit blew up into a whole other thing. So now it's taken on a whole new life of its own. So we'll be digging into that for sure. But yeah, it's just kind of funny because and I was kind of tepidly, I guess, pushing back. Maybe that's not the right word. Pushing back is not even the right word. I guess tepidly being opposing. It says roughly what Clint, sort of his take was. The Clint Candace rough take. Obviously, they're different people. I was kind of, and then it blew up into this whole thing where it became this like Shapiro, Tim Pool, and it's like I thought it was kind of funny where it was this weird thing. Where like I didn't intend to, but I kind of in an odd way ended up putting my side on a schism with some odd bedfellows, if that makes sense. So, sorry, not me to ramble. We'll talk about that more obviously later. Good morning, Fire Pixie. Good morning. Tom again saying there's no benefits. There never was. Farmers get up when they need to. Get up and farm kids can take off school or farm work still to this day. So. You're saying they could take off school. I think the idea was so that they wouldn't have to take off school. I don't know. Yeah, it never really seemed to jive too much to me either. So I'm like, I still feel like you should have plenty of time. I don't know. or just do school at a different time. Like, I don't understand why we need to like adapt the entire fucking time to school. Like that doesn't make sense to me. You could easily, it would make more sense as opposed to moving the clock back and forth every multiple times a year. It would make more sense just to do that with school. Just be like, hey, after winter break, now we come in an hour later. Wouldn't that be way fucking easier and make way more sense? Instead of like fucking just revolutionizing literally everyone's world, maybe just like the people that it applies to. Like, I mean, that would be annoying, I guess, in a certain sense for workers. But I don't know if that's the constant, or just pick some sort of in between time. I don't fucking know. It just seems like a non problem that's caused a whole bunch of other problems. So, let me see. Yeah, anyone voting in favor of time changes should be. Tom said it, not me. Good morning, Alien Big Cat saying, discussing? Not sure in favor of what, or what you're saying that in regards to, I mean. Let me see. Good morning, Fire Pixie. Good morning. I didn't even think about it. Good call, OG Matzo Ball. It says, is Crowley any better? Yeah, I didn't even think about the significance of his last name or his wife or his mom's maiden name being Crowley. Although, I don't know. I mean, like, whatever. I mean, I feel like I've heard plenty of Crowley. I feel like I've met a Crowley at some point. I don't think it's that bizarre. I mean, yeah, it is obviously Aleister Crowley, but, like, Aleister's a weird name. Crowley's not that, like, it's not like a Hitler. Like, it's like a Hitler's, like, what? Like, it's not in vogue anymore. Like, I don't know. It's also not, like, a unique name to where nobody has it, if that makes sense. So, but, yeah, you are right. I didn't even think about that. Good morning, Boomer Sooner. Good morning. Nevsky says fatter gay taints is what I call them. I have no idea what you're referring to here, but it's fun to say fat gay taints with zero context. What else we got? What else? Good morning, Marnimac. Good morning. We got Clintoris making it in here. All right, let's get into foreign policy. Let's check in on what's going on in the world of war. I think I can't remember if they had announced they were already going to do this, but I mean, it was like it's like we knew they were. I think they did announce they were going to do this, but we all knew it was coming either way. The blockade has been reimposed on the U.S. side of things. So I know we had already talked plenty about the Iran side of things, blockaded. Or they've already blockaded on their side, and now we have the U.S. side. So we have blockaded the blockade. So yeah, and also been some more bombing. So let's cover some of that. So CENTCOM said Tuesday its forces have reimposed a blockade of Iranian ports after it announced another round of strikes against Iran, marking the fourth consecutive day that the U.S. has bombed Iran. CENTCOM said that at 3 p.m. Eastern, it began launching an additional round of strikes against Iran to continue degrading Iranian capabilities and used to attack commercial shipping in the Strait of Hormuz. And Iranian media has reported strikes and blasts across southern Iran. An hour later, CENTCOM said the blockade was back in effect. U.S. forces resumed the naval blockade against vessels transiting to and from Iranian ports in coastal areas today at 4 p.m. Eastern, the command said. There are currently more than 20 U.S. Navy warships and hundreds of military aircraft operating across the Middle East. American forces remain vigilant, lethal, and ready, the command added. Also on Tuesday, the IRGC announced that it launched a third wave of attacks against U.S. bases in the region in part of what is dubbed Operation Nasser 2. The IRGC said it targeted U.S. bases in Bahrain and Kuwait and claimed to have destroyed an MQ-9 Reaper drone deployment ramp at Kuwait's Ali Al Salam Air Base. It said the attacks were launched in response to the aggression carried out this afternoon by the child-killing U.S. Army against several Iranian coastal bases. The IRGC warned this retaliation would continue in the face of further U.S. attacks, and that as long as U.S. mischief continues in the region, not a single drop of oil or gas will be exported from the region, and that U.S. strikes will only delay the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. And unfortunately, I believe they are correct. We also got Trump backtracking on the 20% fee that we talked about yesterday, since now everything's become about the Strait of Hormuz. Everything else is like whatever. They've dropped everything else. Now all of this is focused around the Strait of Hormuz. We talked yesterday that Trump was talking about, well, like now they're going to put in their own, tariff or their own fee in the Strait, whereas it was a huge, big fucking deal when Iran was talking about doing it before, and even more of a cartoonish situation. The 20% fee compared to, I believe, what was either a 1 or 2% from the Iranians, just absolutely ridiculous. Just doesn't make sense, but just weird. It seems like a kind of almost normalizing in a weird way what will be the inevitability here, which is likely Iran having some sort of fee system. So, I mean, I guess in that way, cool. Thanks, Trump, for normalizing it after making this a huge, big deal in times past. This became, made it out like this is a war crime. There needs to be free travel, yada, yada, yada. And, like there's very much like it was like basically like almost an implied red line if they didn't directly say it, that these motherfuckers can't be putting fees in. They can't be putting a fee into the Strait. Like, people should be just able to travel in and out freely. Well, they threw that away. Now, as Trump is now saying he wants to do a 20% fee, but he's backtracking on it now. But either way, I do find it interesting that it kind of in a weird way normalized it. Trump on Tuesday backtracked on his demands for ships transiting the Strait of Hormuz to pay the U.S. a 20% fee, saying instead he wants trade and investment deals from the Gulf Arab states. So he's trying to extract some sort of concessions from the other Gulf states, which seems to be kind of a wild move to be holding them against the wall here. Based on highly productive conversations with Middle East leadership, I have decided to replace the 20% United States reimbursement fee with trade and investment deals that the various Gulf states will be making into the United States, the president wrote on Truth Social. Those investments will be massive, but at the same time extraordinarily good for them and their future, he added. Iran responded to Trump's call for the U.S. to be the guardian of the Strait of Hormuz and receive a 20% fee by mocking him and pointing out that Iran's plan would require a much smaller payment. Iran has always been the guardian of the Strait and will remain so forever. 20% is, of course, too much. We will be fair. I know we already covered his statement yesterday, but either way, pretty good statement from a boss there, so I will bring it up again. So, in a weird move here, Trump has essentially set up the normalization for what will inevitably occur anyway. So I find that interesting. Then we also got Somalia being attacked for the 74th time this year. This is on July 13th. As the Trump administration continues its record-breaking bombing campaign in the country. Once again, to remind you, the deal here is, no one's really reporting on this. We have very little idea what is all going on here, but yet they are setting records in bombing basically regularly. They're up to 74. The last record was 124 in a year, which they had beaten the previous record by like double. And the previous record had been set by Trump himself. So once again, another one. And continuing on, the Senate Democrats finally being of use, blocking advancement of a $1.1 trillion NDAA over the Iran war. This is awesome. We'll see where it goes. I don't have a whole lot of faith that much will come of it, but either way, positive development. Senate Democrats on Tuesday blocked the advancement of the 2027 NDAA, citing Trump's war with Iran, which continues to rage following the collapse of the U.S.-Iran MOU. The NDA would provide the Pentagon with over $1.1 trillion in funding as part of the White House's plan for a $1.5 trillion military budget for 2027, a nearly 50% increase from this year. The bill also includes an amendment, Section 1217, to further merge the U.S. and Israeli militaries under a plan being pushed by Netanyahu, which we've covered that plenty here. Procedural vote of 50-46 fell well short of the 60 votes that it needed to advance the NDAA. Every Democrat except two who weren't present for the vote, Fetterman and Alex Padilla, voted against advancing the sprawling military spending bill. The NDAA cannot become a permission slip for that recklessness that we see occurring in Iran, said Chuck Schumer. Trump does not get to drag the American people deeper into a war that he cannot explain and does not know how to end, and then demand Congress look the other way. He also noted in X that bipartisan majorities in Congress passed legislation to end this war that Trump is ignoring, referring to the war powers resolution that both the House and the Senate passed last month, directing Trump to end the war with Iran. So this is kind of looking like, because many people may not have clicked. We've talked about this, quite a bit here and there. I don't know if I've really emphasized these latest return to hostilities, that this is kind of flying in the face of the War Powers Resolution, and specifically the 1973 Act, that kind of changed the way they went about doing it. This kind of flies in the face in it. We talked about this in the show, that we had the concurrent resolution that got passed a while back, where they essentially said, yeah, the Iran thing, it's a no-go, we're done. Although at that point the MOU had already been in place, and now they're trying to play this mumbo jumbo because the whole deal is like they have 60 days. This is the deal. The executive has 60 days before they have to get Congress to approve a war, for this sort of situation. And they're trying to do this weird game that they're playing with the 60 days. Like, they're restarting the 60 days. Like, hell, even the first one was well more than 60 days, the first bout, which is why they kind of weirdly broke it up in a very retarded way with the blockade. Like, when we went to this sort of weird period of time where there was like a lull, but we still had the blockade, they tried to act as if this was like separate periods, separate things going on, as if like there was a break in the hostilities. And like, although they were still invading, essentially occupying someone else's area, essentially blockading them, which is an act of war. So it was all retarded. It was all one through line of hostilities the whole way through. But they tried to play these silly games, but they're still trying to play the silly games here, acting like it's another restart of the 60-day deadline. So this looks like this could be, the legislative branch pushing back here, because they have the power of the purse here. The Schumer also, the vote in June marked the first time Congress ever passed a concurrent war powers resolution, which doesn't require the president's signature and is a specific type of legislation designated by the 1973 War Powers Act to compel the executive branch to end a war launched without congressional authorization. Trump administration has deemed the War Powers Act unconstitutional, but has still tried to work within its confines. The law, which doesn't supersede the Constitution, includes a 60-day deadline with a potential 30-day extension for the president to end any unauthorized military action or obtain authorization from Congress, a deadline that has been falsely reinterpreted to allow the president 60 days to wage war without congressional authorization. On July 10th, this was 5 days ago, Trump formally notified Congress that the war with Iran had resumed after the U.S. began new strikes in the country, which the administration claims means the 60-day clock has restarted, but that the war never actually ended because the U.S. continued a blockade on Iran for most of the time since the ceasefire was declared and launched multiple rounds of strikes following the signing of the U.S. MOU, which has since collapsed. So this something interesting could happen here. So it looks like them pushing back, perhaps against Trump. That's doing a pretty flagrantly unconstitutional action at this point. Him returning to hostilities. I mean, it's already been explicitly said by Congress, no, and yet they are doing it again. So we'll see what happens. Yet he's still doing it anyway. So we'll see what happens. I mean, if this allows to continue, if nothing really becomes of this, especially considering the concurrent resolution, then effectively, Congress has no, the whole idea of they have the power of the purse or this, that, effectively they kind of don't. Effectively, the executive can do whatever they want. So, but continuing on, let's check in on our greatest ally. Let's see what they're doing over in Lebanon. New talks between Israel and Lebanon began today at the U.S. Embassy to Rome. This is yesterday. And while the last 5 rounds of talks have all ended in deals not particularly consequential, indications are that Israel is looking to scale back their already limited obligations under the terms of such deals. Talks seem to be centered heavily in the pilot zones, which were small segments of southern Lebanon that Israel had agreed to hand over to the Lebanese military, but which Israel never actually withdrew from, citing concerns about the Shiites in the Lebanese military. Now, Israeli officials reportedly are seeking to pare the 2 pilot zones down to just 1. They are running into an obstacle because that lone pilot zone is basically an area that no Israeli troops actually occupy in the first place. Lebanon has argued that the pilot zone should involve actual... This is so retarded. Actual Israeli troops pulling back so it delivers something tangible. Even that one smaller zone right now doesn't come with an actual timetable. So This is just so retarded. For those who haven't been following along, we've had multiple rounds of peace talks between the state of Lebanon and Israel. So this is like aside from the whole MOU thing, trying to come up with these various so-called ceasefires or whatever, despite the fact that none of them actually constitute anything really close to an actual ceasefire. They've basically been allowed to occupy throughout. Those have been the terms they've been coming to with the Lebanese government. And keep in mind, they have this third party, Hezbollah, during all of it, who actually Israel is mad at, who is Lebanon's, claiming they're going to disarm, they're going to pull back. So just like imagine this other third one that actually seems to have some semblance of the security of the Lebanese people in mind, as opposed to the government here. I just can't even imagine. Like imagine we had like the Proud Boys or the 3%ers or whatever given militia, and they were the ones doing what like Hezbollah is roughly doing right now. And the United States government was doing. It's just astounding situation. So, anyways, back up to this. So currently we have they came to some sort of deal because they were sort of feeling pressure. I think this is like lagging stuff from when they were dealing with the MOU. It seems like there may have been some actual legitimate push to get Israel to sort of pull back from Lebanon for the MOU, hoping maybe they can somehow make it work if Israel does something. And so I think that's kind of why they actually gave some concessions and have been sort of doing something, but the something is basically nothing here. So for example, like right here, they essentially, one of the things in the latest bouts of talks, although they're doing it in the previous bout of talks, although we have ongoing ones right now, they had these things they're calling pilot zones because they were talking about pulling back, but in certain regions that they are occupying. And so then they started talking about like, okay, now we have these pilot zones, and these are zones that we're going to actually start pulling back from. Now they're pulling back. They're like kind of even more piecemeal, pulling back. Well, now, well, 5. Well, I don't know. Let's maybe 3. I don't know. 3's too much. 2. And so it's kind of slowly coming down. And now they've gotten down to just 1. And then to make it even more ridiculous, this so-called pilot zone's not even an area that they're even occupying. And I think even then they're like, kind of like, I don't know if I want to do it. This is so fucking stupid. Sorry, it's just so retarded. I shouldn't laugh. This is awful. There's people's lives on the line, but it's just like, it's crazy. This is what happens all the time on a daily basis. These are the actual, I don't know, just insane. These reports about how Israel is steering the present talks stand in sharp contrast to Israel FM Gideon Saar's comments as he insists Israel stands ready to implement the pilot zones at any time. That contradicts other officials' positions. The deal, as it was reached in the last round of talks, was panned by many Lebanese for not including any requirement for Israel to ever withdraw from southern Lebanon. The early indications are this agreement won't do anything to ameliorate these concerns. Saar has long insisted Israel has no territorial designs on Lebanon, despite other members of his government actively advocating for the annexation of the occupied South. Adding fuel to the fire, Israel reported a group of religious Zionist settlers were escorted back into Israel after having crossed the border. They were members of a group that advocates settlements inside southern Lebanon. All right, moving on. Let's check in on Gaza. They killed a 10-year-old boy in the past 24 hours. So, I mean, what did we expect here? Israeli attacks on Gaza. And they killed 9 people as well. Killed at least 9 Palestinians, including a 10-year-old boy. Officials in Gaza have told Reuters 10-year-old boy identified as Mutaz Abu Shar was killed by Israeli gunfire near Rafah, southern Gaza. Another Palestinian was killed, and several others were injured by an airstrike in the southern city of Khan Yunis. Another attack targeted a police post in Jabalia, northern Gaza, killing at least 7 Palestinians, including a woman and a senior police official. Israel has ramped up attacks on Gaza's police in recent months as it seeks to disrupt Hamas's control and further destabilize a small area of Gaza where Palestinian civilians live outside of the IDF-occupied zone. Gaza's Interior Ministry said that among those killed were Colonel Mohammed Marwan Salem, the head of the Jabalia police force, and several other police officers. Police officials told Reuters the IDF has killed dozens of people in Gaza since the so-called ceasefire deal was signed in October 2025. This brings up the total to 1,110 Palestinians dead since the so-called ceasefire went into effect in October there. So not much of a ceasefire. And last story in foreign policy news, a little bit of an ode to Lindsey Graham. You could say senators, apparently unleashed this Russia sanctions bill to honor Graham. So we'll see. Senators on Tuesday unveiled a sweeping Russia sanctions bill and urged its passing to honor Lindsey Graham, who died over the weekend after a visit to Ukraine, where he announced the White House and Congress reached an agreement to advance the legislation. It is truly a tribute to Senator Graham that we are at this point, said Richard Blumenthal, who made frequent visits to Ukraine along with Graham. The bill will impose sanctions on Russian officials, Russian state-owned companies, and foreign firms that support Russia's military industry. The bill would also give Trump the ability to impose a 100% tariff on countries that purchase Russian energy, down from the 500% tariffs that were part of a bill Graham and Blumenthal were pushing last year. Congressional aides told Reuters the top 5 purchasers of Russian oil are China, India, Slovakia, Hungary, and Azerbaijan. And the top 5 buyers of Russian natural gas are China, France, Japan, Hungary, and Belgium. The bill includes a provision to spare U.S. allies from the tariffs if they import less than 15% of Russia's natural gas exports and are taking steps to reduce reliance on Russian energy. The Reuters report said the bill also allows Trump to waive the sanctions if he deems it in the interest of U.S. national security. The bill currently has 26 bipartisan co-sponsors, as Senate Democrats and Republicans were united on Tuesday in their calls to pass it for the sake of Graham, who believes behind a legacy as one of the most hawkish members of Congress in recent decades. There can be no more fitting memorial to Lindsey, his legacy, or the causes he fought for than to pass this legislation and realize his long-held dream of an independent and secure Ukraine, said Senator Jeanne Shaheen. And she's kind of right, aside from like maybe them actually declaring war or something crazy or literally murdering people on the congressional floor, like, in his name. I don't really know what more of a send-off he could get. So this is about as good as we could probably maybe legally get. So, R.I.P. to you, Lindsey Graham. Hope it's not too hot down there. I'm just kidding. I hope it is. But with that, let's roll the chat, say some more good mornings, and then we'll get into our Kirk coverage. We have quite a bit to get through. Let's see what you guys got to say. Fat gay taints, Clint and Tim's band when they kiss and make up. That's not nice, but it's a funny word, funny turn of phrase. Clint Poole and Tim Russell sounds like an old radio show. This is top 3-3. Let me see what else we got. You guys talking? I like Clint, to be clear. I can see you guys all talking shit. He's my boy. He's cool. We've never had any real particular issues, so he's cool. Obviously, we have disagreements though. Good morning, bug fights. Good morning. Good morning. What else we got? You guys are really talking mad shit in here. So we got John Black says Lindsey Graham accidentally killed himself by using a Ukrainian drone as a butt plug. John Black also says, I don't give a fuck about Charlie Kirk. You know what? Me too, bud. Me too. Here we are. But like I've gone dragging and screaming into most of this Charlie Kirk coverage, and today is no different. But with that, let's go ahead and get into it. Everyone keeps referencing Clint here, so let's just jump right into the Clint Tim Pool back and forth. Like I said, we talked last week talked about the whole Kirk stuff. It wasn't the last dump, but the dump before that. We covered, or one of the major things we kind of circled around was this tweet from Clint, or not even really this tweet from Clint. He quote tweeted this. Candace Owens thing. This here we go. For those, here's a little bit of it. I'll play it real quick. This is a jog people's memory. Here is Ben Shapiro, about a 20-second clip, him saying some stuff about recalling, some details of the day when Charlie Kirk died and how it relates to stuff that was going on with him.
So, I remember where I was when all this was happening. I was in Los Angeles. I had sort of a breakfast/lunch meeting with somebody, and I got the news that Charlie had been shot, and my security was on the phone with Charlie's security because nobody knew what the hell was going on. Well, Charlie was still in the back of the car, and we were sort of getting updates along the way. At 2:40 p.m. So, I remember where I was.
So there's that. Now, Candace is the one who posted that. She put a caption like breaking news. Shapiro just confessed that while Charlie was being transported and bleeding to death, his security was on the phone with Charlie's security receiving updates. I knew it. I'm not going to read the whole thing again, but you get the tone, you get the idea. Her very accusatory, although I guess she's not directly saying it. I guess you could say like, well, I don't know. I thought it was crazy. Or I guess you could back off and be like, it's strange. So then Clint jumped in on it, and I know we kind of. It was Clint's tweet that we brought up on the show. And he said, for those who haven't followed this closely, CK was placed in the vehicle in under a minute. The car ride was less than 10, likely less than 5. So within 5 or 10 minutes, Shapiro's security was getting real-time updates from CK's security, and that was relayed to Shapiro. When they should have been working tirelessly to save his life, Shapiro was not CK's friend. CK did not work for DW, Daily Wire, Charlie Kirk, Daily Wire. While the rest of the world was just learning about a shot being fired somewhere, Shapiro has a direct line security team which just failed to secure their protectee. This is weird beyond belief, and I hope everyone will set their bias aside and really think about how this was even possible. So disturbing, which we talked about a little bit last night on our Dead. I already talked about this too. This is what we kind of talked about a lot. I don't think I don't find this weird beyond belief. There's a lot of weird shit in the Charlie Kirk thing. There really is, but I think we kind of start to really, push on the edge of losing credibility when we do. And now, to be fair, I understand knee-jerk reaction. You hear this and you go, "Whoa, that's fucking wild." And you could even, I'd be comfortable saying it's weird, sort of. I mean, even then, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, maybe it's not that weird really at all. But weird beyond belief, no. That's a little silly. But we talked about this yesterday. I find it bizarre because, we looked up how big was even his security team. He had 13 people that we found on that day. He had 13 people. What do you have? Maybe a handful of them, moving the car around, providing first aid. Obviously, I know there's questions about whether they did good first aid or not, whatever. But you still have another handful, probably almost half, slightly over half the team left to do other stuff. And this would be, I would think, probably pretty early on. Once you deal with the immediate stuff, and keep in mind, the immediate things are already being dealt with, so this opens up other people to deal with other things. It's my understanding, too, even the security teams, they even sort of have, people who aren't even, on location. They're, kind of eye in the sky, kind of like the nerd in a fucking computer somewhere. So as soon as they get word about this, they will start doing, whatever things they do, and they maybe... check and see what hospital's close. I don't know. I'm trying to think of things that they may. I've never worked VIP security, but I don't find it that odd at all. That once they've dealt with the immediate things, and there's 13 people there, so there's plenty of people to deal with the immediate things, that they would start being a little bit forward thinking. And I don't think it would really take a whole lot of time to enter the equation if you are some VIP security team to think about is this part of a broader thing? Is there, are there other, possible targets? And I really think, obviously now it's after the fact. We've kind of absorbed less information. We've thought about it. But in the moment, at that time that Charlie died, who are the first handful of people? If you were to guess, Charlie Kirk, boom, dead. Who would you guess would be, if this is part of a broader thing and there's going to be other targets, who would make your top 10? Shapiro, easily, if not top 5 or top 3. So I don't find it that ridiculous. Also, you add into the fact that how big of an industry really even is VIP security, even more so in this realm. This is a very small world here, I would think. So I don't find it that bizarre. I've seen plenty of people post that apparently Shapiro and Candace I think still have, or at least as of fairly recently, I think still shared security. So I don't find it to be that bizarre. And this is just kind of this over your skis type thing. Just seems like a weird thing with all the other stuff. So now Tim Pool jumped in this. He goes, politics is fake and gay. My team was also getting updates. Notably, I tweeted that Charlie was reportedly stable. This was because we got updated while they were transporting him. You're all fake. This is what you guys do for traffic. Now, I want to be very clear. That one update, I found that super sketch. Now, here is that update. Here's James Lee asking, who was your trustworthy news source, Tim? Here is the actual post in question. So it says right here, source tells me Charlie is stable. Please God. And then the reply to that is, I received a call. He replied to himself. I received a call from a trustworthy source who told me this. I want to believe, and I'm hoping. So he's saying he received a call. Now, even that says an hour. So there was actually, I'm retarded. I'm reading the time thing wrong. But I think this is within an hour or two. So this is going to come up in the back and forth between Clint and Tim. So he was saying he received updates. Now, to be fair, everyone goes, jumps on Tim is like, well, you weren't receiving updates in the first 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, yeah. I think he's more just commenting that many teams were getting updates. Now, to what time frame, Tim doesn't really say. I know he put out that one claim. I think I believe I've heard that was within an hour after. It was a good deal after the fact. It was well after that. If he did actually have some sort of source, he should have fucking known. That dude is dead as fuck. So I don't know if he just lied. If it's one of those situations where you're like, who the fuck's gonna prove me wrong? It seems believable enough. If he is dead, it's what is he gonna It's not like he's gonna come back from the grave and be like, that's defamation. I'm alive. I don't know. I don't understand exactly why he would post this. I will admit it's super sketch, and Tim Pool is not someone I am one to readily trust. But that is the post that many people give him shit about, myself included. So he's kind of shitting on Tim here. A lot of people point out they find this weird that Tim they made a big deal about, I guess, that Tim even inserted himself into this situation, which I don't know. I mean, I kind of think given all of these things, if you put yourself in Tim Pool's mind in that little beanie, as much as I don't want to, I can totally get why you would insert himself. For one, it's you're obviously making yourself relevant. Also, I can even see just being indignant, dude, what the fuck? I can see it from his perspective as someone who's kind of sort of wrapped up in this group of people, sort of like the Shapiro types. And so seeing this and, someone who's not completely on the Candace train and just being like, what the fuck? Because I don't know, this is just wild to me. This is a wild thing. Seems to be a real jump in logic. And so I could totally see why Tim Pool, one of the few people who would really have any sort of input to add here, would. I know a lot of people made a big deal about the fact he inserted himself. So I just find that weird. Why wouldn't he insert himself here? But anyways, so he says politics fake game. His team was also getting updates. Notably, I already read that. So this is what you guys do for traffic. This is what you guys do for traffic. And then he replies again to it. It says, you're such a fucking grifter. Oh, I'm retarded. Sorry. Never mind. It didn't show me the next reply. So I'll read, I guess, this to you. Then we have Clint replied to that. He goes, Charlie was in the hospital within 10 minutes of getting hit. I flat out don't believe you. You posted he had a pulse an hour later. So not while en route to the hospital. Not a chance. And since you're calling me fake, you can now prove me wrong. Which, I mean, what are you even being proved wrong, I guess, here about that it's weird? I mean, it's another thing too. I don't even understand what Clint's supposed to be proved wrong about. Or I guess maybe that he doesn't believe him. I'm not very clear here. So it's if I don't believe you, he's saying he did an hour later. But even then, I still think it's yes, while I understand people, it is fair to point out that these are different things in that, Tim's, supposed claim was an hour later. I think Tim was more just referencing that. He may have been getting updates earlier than that for all we know, although I don't think he mentions it, and I feel like he would. So he goes, but then Tim Pool follows up, goes, Charlie's team isn't just 4 people. They have logistics, and you know it. My team was in communication with them as well. You are also full of shit. And then Clint goes, so your claim is that you were receiving updates within 10 minutes of the attack, but not from the SUV. Someone on the security team was not with Charlie was able to update you on his condition while en route to the hospital. You can't understand why people find that weird. And then he goes, you pretending it's weird to make insinuations. God, just fucking stop. I mean, I still stand by. I don't feel like it's all that weird. Clint goes, nope. I think you were lying or you were lied to. I do not believe you had an update. No, to be clear, I think he was probably lying about the claim, the supposed source or whatever. I think he probably just made that up. I don't think someone told him that that Charlie's in stable condition. I think he probably lied, but I don't know that for a fact. So he says, I do not believe you an update to his condition that from that SUV while driving 100 plus miles per hour to the hospital and also trying to save his life, which, if you've been paying attention closely, Tim has never claimed that. So he just didn't get into the details of who contacted me when, who's talking to me. And he says, and whoever told you he was stable an hour later also lied, but you're mad at me. Odd. Tim goes, you're such a fucking grifter. No one is getting called from inside the car, you fucking liar. Goes to security team, relays to logistics. What is happening? And the fucking logistics team sends updates to affiliates, friends, and guards. You just use assumptive reasoning to trick people into drawing false conclusions. You're such a desperate lying hack. Clint goes, I don't believe you got an update from anyone on his team within 10 minutes of the attack. So who is grifting? Prove me wrong, Tim. If you were so read in, how did you think he was stable an hour later? No one thought that. It was not true. It was never true. I still don't think it's like that unbelievable that you would get updates within 10 minutes. 10 minutes is a pretty long period of time, and especially when you have a, double-digit team that is caring for you and dealing with every possible thing they can think of, or they're supposed to be. I mean, I know obviously a lot of people point out a lot of issues with the team, but that's ideally what they're supposed to be doing. So Tim Pool goes, again, you're using me having bad info with not having any info at all. Critical but stable. What happened? Ground teams relays to logistics. I do not believe he was stable then. That's also ridiculous. I believe he was fucking dead. Ground team relays to logistics. Logistics tells our team latest info. In fact, I think DW might have same or similar contracts as TPUSA. See, there you go. I wouldn't be surprised if they do have similar security contracts of sorts. It says, you're just a liar for clicks, intentionally obtuse to make insinuation about Ben. Clint goes, nope, I think I'm actually trying to figure out who killed your friend. You decide to ignore every weird circumstance surrounding his death. I will not be quiet about it. It's too important. And Shapiro's a snake. Good luck following him into oblivion. Now, I normally would be totally with Clint on this one if it was many of the other weird things have come up. Like, for example, we'll get into like 30-06 stuff. I could see if someone really was like, dude, come on, I've shot 30-06s. That's ridiculous. I could maybe get that one. But this just seems a weird hill to me. And I honestly, as much as I hate to say it, I kind of lean towards Tim here. And that was kind of my inclination from the jump. So I'm interested to see what you guys think, if that's true. But that doesn't necessarily mean, you guys may notice this today, the title of this segment is called Fedslop versus Psyslop. It's kind of like inspired from something me and Austin were talking about last night on Already Dead. I don't remember where he said, he wasn't original to him, but he'd heard it from somebody else, saying it's Psyslop. And so with that, yeah, I do think Tim Pool is essentially Fedslop to some regard. I don't know if he's necessarily literally a Fed, but, I think fair to call him Fedslop. But in the same way, it's also, I think, fair to call Candace Psyslop. And here's one example. I know we talked a little bit here and there, so I did try to find about, kind of how unreliable this lady is. But just a kind of another example of the craziness of Candace. Here's her back in March claiming she had names of people who told her the gun was planted. So she supposedly had sources back in March that told her this gun was planted. So she's kind of sent people down some of these roads thinking these things. And now now maybe there is somebody, but it's just the idea that like this has been a recurring theme with Candace. She makes wild claims. Every now and then, I'll admit, every once in a while, one does hit. Like there was that one that started all of this. I forget the specific claim. It had something to do with like Andrew Colvette and like Israel or something, and what Charlie was saying, I believe, if I recall correctly. And she made some claims, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, she's being crazy." And then she did kind of draw those people into her trap, and then it ended up being proven right. And she's rode off that one like crazy. And there has been many other claims. We've had like the Egyptian spy planes. We've had the French Foreign Legion coming to get her. We had Mitch Snow. Like, it's just gone absolutely absurd. And I was someone who was following along, and I was kind of one of these people that was kind of like, she's a little crazy. She's kind of a wild bitch. Like, whatever. But you just get to a certain point where you're like, this is just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, and here is one such example of it. So let's watch this clip. I found this. Here's a Riz Wake the Fool says, whatever happened to this storyline? Did we just forget about the anonymous Utah cops planting evidence theory? Now the new phone call script dropped. It's wild how she makes these massive claims, never backs them up, never revisits them, and then just moves on to the next grift.
I would willfully sit on the defense side and say, this person told me that the feds planted the gun. This person told me that the bomb dogs couldn't find it. How can you sit back and pretend that you are like a friend of Charlie Kirk because you're trying to get a patsy put into prison? Like, you guys are completely monstrous and pretending that you're on the side of morality. Like I said, I have recorded and documented every piece of this case. I have been meticulous about this. There is an overwhelming.
She hasn't been meticulous.
They love to use that word. There was an overwhelming amount of evidence that the feds set this kid up as a patsy. Okay? Everyone in the town, all the local sheriff departments, the SWAT team.
All right. I know this was back in March, but that's insane. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm someone that, like, I'll be very honest. My intuition is like something else more was going on here. My vibe, I'm not gonna lie. My vibe is like this it totally makes sense it'd be Israel. But like, wow, let's back that up again. Let's just see real quick what that.
Everyone in the town, all the local, overwhelming amount of.
That's what I remember. Overwhelming amount of evidence. But we can be honest and be like, is anyone really out there in any honest world trying to say there's an overwhelming amount of evidence? Like, okay, let's keep going.
Evidence that the feds set this kid up as a patsy.
Okay, so overwhelming evidence the feds set this kid up as a patsy. What evidence? I mean, there's, once again, I guess come back to like weird stuff. There is weird stuff. I mean, I don't know. That seems like a stretch of definitions there, big time, and very much overstating things. There's a lot of odd things, a lot of things that, draw concerns, in a pattern recognizing sort of sense. You look at, you side eye, but I haven't gone to that point at all yet. So, and I'm someone who leans towards that, but I'm just trying to be honest here.
Okay. Everyone in the town, all the local sheriff departments, the SWAT team, they believe that the feds came in and they started lying and they were sending people on wild goose chase and they, said the gun was here and they said it was over there. There was no gun. They didn't want the bomb dogs to go into certain places. Like I said, I am not getting this information from people that do not have the credibility to assert that. That's how I got the pictures inside of the car. Okay. I'm speaking to people with firsthand intimate knowledge, and they all believe that the feds set this up. So how are there people out there saying otherwise? Why wouldn't I testify for the defense? I want to find Charlie's real killer. I don't want to find some random kid that they're sticking this on. It's not Tyler Robinson. Tyler Robinson did not do this alone. I feel the opposite of how Erica Kirk felt sitting next to Barry Weiss. With everything I have collected, I feel the exact opposite as Charlie Kirk's wife. I feel almost certain that Tyler Robinson did not shoot. I would say I feel 99.9% certain that Tyler Robinson did not shoot Charlie Kirk from a rooftop by himself. How about that? I'm going to say 0.1% because, I don't know, you just should never say 100% unless you're, Erica Kirk's lawyers. 100%, we'll get him. We're just going to go on vibes. No, you're going on corruption, not vibes. What she feels 100% confident about, is that there is a bunch of people who will lie for her. She's got a police force behind her. She's got 33 behind her. She's got the White House, Scott Bessent, that'll publish letters saying that they're so upstanding and so moral, right? That's what she feels 100% certain of, is that she's connected to the billionaire class of Epstein-type people who lie about everything. Me, I follow the facts, and Tyler Robinson did not do this. He's not a lone gunman on a rooftop, okay? So I challenge you. I challenge any person, like I've done over and over again. If you feel so 100% overwhelmed by the evidence that Tyler Robinson did this, please come sit in this studio and debate me. I need someone to debate on.
Now, also to be very clear, I want to be very clear on the flip side. I also do not see overwhelming evidence that Tyler Robinson did this either. To be very clear, that's just where I'm just waiting for compelling something to present itself, and just nothing really has. But yeah, all right. Also, I think something to be concerned about is the orbiters that go around Candace. So, kind of the class of people that have formed around here, the Psyslop class. Here's Genghis Khan. Says, I'm old enough to remember when I called out Ryan. He's speaking about Ryan Mata. We're going to talk about in a minute. For lying about Charlie Kirk wearing a bulletproof vest as damage control to explain the lack of a 30-06 wound. Now, to be very clear, I don't know what specific claims Ryan made in the past. Although I will say this is perfectly believable from Genghis Khan from what I've seen of Ryan. It says, instead of admitting he fabricated, he made a video confirming 100% without a shadow of a doubt that he had a source working inside the hospital who saw Charlie wearing a vest. He openly lied both times for clickbait and to spread disinfo, muddying Mormon involvement in the shooting. Mossad controls your feed. Their influencers provoke and mislead you. Wake up and look at the network and money trails behind all these people. And now here he is talking about how he's confirmed without a shadow of a doubt that Tyler Robinson is a patsy. So let's see what he has to say.
So check this out. YouTube just deplatformed James Lee. You know James Lee, you know what they deplatformed him for? He was live streaming the Tyler Robinson trial. Just live streaming and giving commentary on it. And in the middle of their stream, they just deplatformed his channel. They just completely cut him off, cut his stream off, middle of stream, and just banned his channel. Now, anytime, if you guys know YouTube, if you look at the past history of times where YouTube has changed their community guidelines to basically deplatform and censor people, the number one time that I think most of us woke up was, what was it? Oh yeah, the COVID-19 vaccine. And what happened with that? Oh yeah, it was a bioweapon and killed millions of people. And then what was it? Oh, if you said the word ivermectin, one of the most safest drugs in the entire world, I think like 90% of people I know give it to their children. It's killed absolutely nobody, and it's saved millions of lives. That drug was so dangerous, if you said the words on YouTube, they banned and deplatformed you. Who else is deplatformed? Oh, Alex Jones is deplatformed. Who else? I don't know. Millions of other doctors and lawyers and people, Harvard graduate doctors, some of the best medical experts in the entire world, were getting deplatformed off YouTube because they were trying to save lives. Now, that just leads us to believe that anytime that YouTube is deplatforming or banning somebody over a specific topic like the Tyler Robinson assassination or the Tyler Robinson investigation, it's because they're covering up the assassination of Charlie Kirk. That's it. It's just that simple. Now, if you were sitting on the fence and you just maybe thought to yourself, well, maybe Tyler Robinson did it. This right here can be 100% absolute confirmation, because the only way that YouTube deplatforms somebody like James Lee over a topic like this is if they were absolutely 110% behind the assassination. If they were covering up the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And
this dude's fucking retarded. I'm sorry. That's so goddamn fucking stupid. But like,
that's what you can be absolutely convinced that that's exactly what happened. It's sad, it's disgusting, but that's the world we live in. So maybe YouTube and YouTube creators should get their head out of their ass, because there's probably going to be a million people just like me that are making videos on this. And you know, James Lee is followed by Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan talks about James Lee all the time. So I think it's a great time, if you guys are friends with Rogan, to tag Rogan below, and let's get James Lee on Joe Rogan, and let's have Joe Rogan have a conversation about how he got deplatformed for live streaming the Charlie Kirk assassination trial. You know, probably the most prominent, Nancy Grace is probably streaming it. Everybody's streaming. Oh, Nancy Grace. No. Nancy Grace only streams things like Casey Anthony and the O.J. Simpson trials. But this, one of the most prominent trials in all of American history, where's Nancy Grace? Where's the full court press? Where are the reporters surrounding Tyler Robinson's house, camping out front of Tyler Robinson's home all month long, all year long, for this amazing chance they just get a shot at his family walking out the door, right? Because if it was you, me, or anybody else, that's exactly what would be happening. But it's not, because the powers that be want to cover this shit up. And it's crazy. It's not left versus right on this one. It's bipartisan. Anytime.
I'm sorry. That's absolutely retarded. So just, and this is the way that some of these people, these orbiters, behave. And he says, we can now confirm without a shadow of a doubt, Tyler Robinson is a patsy, and he is being framed for the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And what does he base this off of? Because James Lee got banned for live streaming some Charlie Kirk something or other. For live streaming the Charlie Kirk trial. Which, now to be very clear, James Lee, I don't have anything bad to say about him. He's always struck me as pretty cool. So like, if he got in Rogan, I guess that'd be cool. He always seems to do generally good work. But yeah, no, this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is fucking retarded. Like, so people scrolling through Twitter, they see this, they see Ryan Mata, oh, we can confirm without a shadow of doubt he's a patsy. And like, they're just scrolling through and they see this. This is what they get in their head. And then the logic this is based off of is because someone took down a YouTube video. Which is like, there's like a million reasons that YouTube video could have gotten taken down. Like, to jump through that now we can confirm without a shadow of a doubt that Tyler Robinson's patsy. Just absolutely insane. Just ridiculous. And so I want to point out, these are the sort of people, you know, doing the kind of move, and 8.2 thousand fucking likes on that thing. Fucking insane. But on the flip side, let's check in on the Fedslop side of this. Pretty predictable. I've been calling this for a while. They're kind of perfectly falling into the Fedslop trap here. the psyopers. You got Seth Dillon here, says the main reason Alex Jones was held liable was not that he questioned an official narrative. It was that he repeatedly and callously made false accusations about specific people. He claimed the Sandy Hook shooting was staged, that the grieving parents were crisis actors, and that they were knowingly participating in a fraud. His false claims made for clicks and fame were damaging and led to harassment and threats against grieving innocent people. So his protective opinion defense failed. The First Amendment protects the right to question events and criticize official accounts, but does not provide blanket immunity for defamation. Now, to be very clear, I don't agree with defamation, but Seth Dillon is kind of in a fucked up way calling it. Now, I think he's a scumbag himself, to be very clear. I do not want to see ideas or people become verboten. I didn't like that when this happened to Alex Jones, and I honestly thought it was pretty. And when this, I think, ends up probably happening to Candace, I won't be in support of that necessarily. So if, with her, I know she's dealing with like the Macron stuff, but if they pull the same thing with this, some sort of legal, trying to cancel her, this or that, I will be against that. I will not agree with that. In the same way I didn't agree with Alex Jones, but in a certain social sense, in a certain larger, even from a legal perspective, and kind of preventing for people in the future from going down this path, it just kind of looks like we see the pieces in place. This is something I was saying from the jump, like people like me and Austin. It's like Candace. I mean, people have been calling her Candy Hook a lot these days, a lot due to friend of the show Dana Duda and her coverage. And for one reason, I mean, there's multiple reasons why her dad handled those contracts, but also it works so well too, and that this looks like exactly what's kind of working to happen there. Essentially, think about Sandy. We just now have gone to a point where I probably could safely do some sort of Sandy Hook series on YouTube. I have a Sandy Hook series, by the way, for those who aren't aware. It's only on Rumble because I wasn't able to do it on YouTube. And I think now I don't know if Alex Jones was an op at the time or something, but Alex Jones' insane behavior and a lot of the carry on there essentially caused that to happen in a certain roundabout way. Like, obviously, I don't agree with people punishing him for his speech, but to some degree, when it seems like there's a little bit of a distinct glow, and it almost seems like they're intentionally, going towards a trap, it makes you wonder. And especially when they're not even being legit, if that makes sense. It's one thing if somebody's just saying legit things. Like, I know a lot of people have accused, I don't know, I guess this isn't even a good example, but say somebody like Fuentes and some of his beliefs and stuff, and have accused him being glowy, which I'm open to it. But he, especially since I guess this works too, since he's like more in the world of like politics, and he's like, we should vote for this person, we should vote that. He's not typically making crazy claims. Whereas Candace is in the claims game, and so was Jones. And so if you just keep making these claims, they're going to, how do I put this? If you're making shitty claims all the time, and sure, we can just be like, oh, there's some sort of slop vendor. But at a certain point, you wonder, well, how is this slop vendor so big? What is going? I mean, are you just this obtuse to where you're intentionally walking into the trap, making ridiculous claims, which will inevitably make it so that the rest of us can't make these, make similar claims? It just kind of, I see it playing out all over again. And here's Seth Dillon kind of rolling out the red carpet for it. Here's Andrew Colvett kind of laying out more directly what I'm saying here. Hey, what's kind of in the same vicinity as kids who lost their children? Say the parents of mass shooting victims. Well, I mean, I don't know, maybe somebody like an Erica Kirk, a widow of a beloved figure to the conservative masses. Where's Andrew Colvett? It says, see, your big problem is this entire thing is not about you, Candace. It's about Charlie. This is him responding to some drama where, shitting on Andrew, saying he spent the 30 pieces of silver, which he probably did. Something about Andrew does not sit right with me as well. We've talked about him plenty. But he says it's about Erica. It's about his kids and his legacy. But time and time again, you've hijacked Charlie's story by smearing and slandering his wife, his org, and his friends. Now you're crashing out with a I'm not suicidal nonsense. It's not about you, Candace. And yes, I have questions. I've always had them. I've voiced them publicly before. But unlike you, I choose not to recklessly smear innocent people, orgs, companies, entire countries without actual proof of wrongdoing. You, by contrast, harass, target innocent people, ruin their lives for sport, inspire a wave of harassment and death threats against them before predictably moving on to your next harebrained theory when that one collapses. You linearly manufacture content for your next show. It's truly one of the most vile, disgusting displays in the history of the internet. Record-breaking levels of idiocy and wickedness combined in one person. You've attempted to appropriate everyone else's grief and honest searching and replace it with Egyptian planes and exploding mics. What an awful trade for the country and the world. You're a record-breaking narcissist candidate, but your credibility is also collapsing at record-breaking speed. Enjoy the crash out. And then we also have Ben Shapiro in this same vein, responding some crash out of Candace Owens, where I know Candace Owens, about a week ago posted shit that apparently Charlie Kirk always hated Ben Shapiro, just out of the blue, then was sharing screenshots of Charlie Kirk talking shit about Ben Shapiro, which that feels weird. I don't know why. Like, what does this prove? Why are we doing this? Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I like it. I mean, it's like, well, that's in a certain way. You're like, oh, that's funny. Charlie Kirk hated Ben Shapiro. But in like, if this was actually your friend and you actually knew this guy, it's kind of insane to like after the fact and then just start sharing his screenshots of him talking shit to people if it's not like somehow really, really, really matters to whatever subject's at hand or something. Like, I know they're like all worked up about the Ben Shapiro thing or whatever, but just still even that doesn't seem to fit here. But Ben replied to it, said, see, here's the thing. I don't care about personal drama. I've said repeatedly Charlie and I weren't best friends. Maybe you were best friends with Charlie, maybe not. I don't know, nor do I care. For 10 months, you've been slandering Charlie's wife, his friends, and all the people he worked with. You're working to acquit his murderer. You're spreading conspiratorial poison for cash. That's something anyone of decency should condemn. The fact that some of you aren't willing to do so is demonstrative of widespread cowardice, stupidity, wickedness, or all three. And all right, one last thing in the like drama, Fedslop versus Goyslop, the influencer coverage of all this, and then we will move on to the actual trial, the actual substantive stuff. But this is one example that really does kind of drive at what I'm getting at. And trust me, I am not someone to pearl clutch, and I'm not even really pearl clutching. I'm just pointing out that, like, hey, the trap that is being laid, that people are running towards, it seems. We're looking for a Sandy Hook 2.0 or AKA Candy Hook. We're seeing all of these things fall into place. You got Erica Kirk. And if you just take one moment, and just like think for a second, like, let's assume Tyler Robinson did it. And let's assume there's good reason for, I don't even really understand why particularly. Don't get me wrong. I understand why people like me might point out weird stuff about Erica Kirk. I find it very still bizarre that Candace, I don't understand the turning point, no pun intended, with her, where she then like turned on, it just made no sense to me. It was like an unconvincing, it was kind of like for those who watch Game of Thrones, it's where like all of a sudden next thing you know, Daenerys is like burning King's Landing. You're like, what? Like, just the jump from one to the other didn't really make sense. But either way, like, if you just take one moment and think, like, you just take the devil's advocate, you take your head out of your ass, and you stop sniffing Candace's butthole, like, just for a moment, what is going on here? You just really think about it and just think, like, wow, what an insane thing to say if you just even for a moment. And as we've talked about, I do not think there's overwhelming evidence either way. So it's just insane to be talking with such certainty about anything, and to the point to where you are literally, I guess not attacking. I'm trying to think of the word. Literally attacking the reputation of the widow of your supposed friend in like a vicious way. It's just ridiculous. Here's one example of this. Here is her saying she grieved when she realized that Charlie may never have actually loved Erica, which is just an insane thing to say. If you just, there's not been, as far as I'm aware, anything that's come out that's in any way, with any level of certitude, proven that like Erica Kirk did not love Charlie or something crazy like that. Which I'm completely open to the idea that she doesn't. She looks like some sort of arrange a bride, like build a bitch sort of situation. That's what it looks like. But I don't know that. But here's Candace. Oh, audio's out. Give me 1 second. Here we go.
Erica Kirk, even though I was the last to arrive to the party, that Erica Kirk was off because I didn't want to even visit that. I couldn't even process that. I actually needed Erica Kirk to be real and authentically grieving more than other people needed her to. I needed that because I didn't have Charlie. I needed to believe that he at least died with the one thing that he wanted most. Our every conversation was about me chasing girls, obviously pre-Erica, like that he wanted to have that companionship and that love. And so for me to have to get to the point where I am questioning whether he was completely manipulated from the very first time that he sat with her, that was hard for me. I had to be prepared and willing to grieve that as well. Grieving, knowing that he died and potentially.
What did it say to me? I'm sorry. The fact that like you would even say that and then turn around and be like, that was hard. Like, what a weird way to be like, and you know how this made me suffer? Like, I think my friend may have been in a loveless marriage and his wife killed him. And you know how hard that was for me? What it is, I'm sorry. It's cartoonish.
Didn't have that one thing that he wanted. Yes, he cared about family life more. He did believe the words that he said about women staying home and raising kids and adding more value, and that men should be the ones working these ridiculous hours. So color me shocked that he would have changed his mind for something that he said for years in the last, in the 2 weeks leading up to his death.
You know how hard this was for Candace Owen, guys? All right, we're out of that stuff. It feels so icky. I hate it. It's so gay. It's so gross. But let's get into actual substantive stuff. Here is the homie, Jacob J. He shared a post, says, settled what type of ammunition was used in the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Full metal jackets are in fact designed to and do penetrate. So there's no reason, absolutely zero reason for no exit wound to exist. And he's just sharing pictures of these bullets, which this shows some of the inscribings of these two. You kind of can't really make them out because of the way they take these pictures under a bright light, which then, because this is a shiny object, a bullet, bullet casing, that it then, it's kind of, it provides a reflection, makes it hard to see. But you can kind of make it out, like there's the Owo one or whatever. I forget what that one said, Owo something or else. There's the Obella Chow one, which I remember being like, how the fuck did they even fit that in there? It does look like he really was kind of squeezing it in. So, but yeah, so you can see the ammo here if those are interested. I'm by no means an ammo expert, but that doesn't, pretty much everything I've seen is everyone's, kind of be like, yes, this is not the like old shitty frangible ammo. Everyone was saying like, oh, because like, obviously when everyone found out this was possibly a 30-06 or something, everyone was like, what? Excuse the fuck out of me. I saw that little pew, 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 like squirt, 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 squirt. Like don't get me wrong, like awful, horrific, but like so far as like damage, like that literally looked like some sort of, I guess 22 or some sort of small weaponry of something small, which I know it's everyone, all the jokes like, oh, I shot an AR once and it blew my fucking arm off. And, I shot a 30-06 once and I've shot plenty of 30-06. It's like, I'm by no means saying that like they're a fucking 50 cal that I'm gonna like take down a tank with or something. Like, no, but it's a 30-06. Like I remember, I think I've told on this show, I remember growing up, my fucking, hunting with my grandpa and my dad, and my grandpa literally shot a fucking deer. Well, actually, they clipped it first. I think my grandpa clipped it. It ran off. We tracked it, and we came up to this top of this like hill where we spooked it at the bottom of the hill. It ran off, kind of doing this little deer prancing thing, kind of like up and down, kind of leaping and bounding. And then my grandpa took his 30-06 and from the top of the hill shot. And so kind of imagine the angle, elevated down, deer kind of jumping. And so he caught it literally under the belly. And like, so the bullet ran along its underside and it basically, essentially, it completely gutted it on the spot. I mean, it didn't, funny enough, it didn't die. We actually then still had to chase after it, ended up putting, I think my uncle ended up putting like a round in its neck or something, which finally put it down. But either way, point being is it's like that is what a 30-06 will do. Now that is an underside of a stomach. It's a, it's soft tissue, but like still, 30-06 is fuck shit up to put it lightly. Now not anything like crazy cartoonish, but like, yeah, it would have been way more. Now everyone points to the MLK thing. Now I want to show you guys something. This is the supposed, now this I believe is an artistic rendering of it. I don't think you can find photos of the actual wound. But here is an artistic rendering of it. Everyone points out that, everyone always brings up, you always see people like, well, MLK was shot with 30-06 and it fucking, there wasn't an exit wound or whatever. Well, look at this fucking wound. Does this look anything like, I don't know if we actually have a way to see the Charlie Kirk wound, but we saw it in the moment. And I know for a fucking fact, it didn't do that shit. There's no way in fuck it blew his neck out like that. Now, and also you can kind of tell by the way of that too, it's sort of, saying there was no exit wounds a little bit of a misnomer here. Like it kind of caught the neck, kind of almost went in and out of the neck. I think it caught him at a weird angle, and then it buried back, and it kind of buried back into here. So it kind of like blew the fuck out of his neck, kind of went through down his neck, and it looked like it kind of got buried into like the meat down here somewhere is what it looks like. Also, that's assuming everything's legit. Also, and the MLK death is like one of the glowiest fucking things ever. So like referring to the MLK thing, be like, well, MLK didn't have a through and through from a 30-06. You're not necessarily proving what you think you are. And even then, even if we take that as truth, it doesn't really quite hold up. There is the picture. So I still I know everyone still tries to poo-poo. It almost seems like this is like the last wall. It's almost like they need to get normal people to be like, yeah, a 30-06 will totally do that. Which, like, I mean, maybe it's theoretically feasible. Like, I would never say it's impossible, but it's one of those things that, like, if you show me that in like a 30-06 did, I'm like, I mean, like, sure, I guess, like, it could be possible, but it's like, you're going to need to, like, I don't know, literally have like a frame by frame of the bullet and be like, okay, it did actually do that. That's wild. Or recreate it or something, because it is in a ridiculous level of unbelievable when we're talking here, especially when you can see here, it clearly was a downward angle with MLK here. Whereas with Charlie, I mean, it obviously did come at a different angle, but it's not like, whereas his like it looks like it went down deep into like the center, almost center mass, into like the, deep into like his chest, shoulders. Whereas like Kirk's is more at a different angle. So like it wouldn't have done this. This is ridiculous. More on the ammo. Here is from the trial, essentially them saying they can't match it up, which let's see what she has to say.
Number 6. What is Exhibit 6?
Exhibit 6 is the bullet fragment, the bullet jacket fragment, as well as some other fragments that were recovered from Mr. Kirk at the time of autopsy.
Thank you. Going back to page 2, will you read the first full paragraph there, beginning with Exhibit 6?
Yes. Exhibit 6 consists of one 30 caliber class deformed damaged bullet jacket fragment and 4 lead fragments.
Will you read the next paragraph as well?
The Exhibit 6A bullet jacket fragment could not be identified or excluded as having been fired from the Exhibit 1 rifle based on an agreement of all discernible class characteristics and neither sufficient agreement nor sufficient disagreement of individual characteristics. The results of the comparison was inconclusive.
So inconclusive test, matching them up. Although I think we talked about this in the past, and it's not really as big of a deal as some people say. I think that's kind of the deal from my understanding when it comes to bullet stuff. You typically can't match it. So here you go. So here's Tammy White. It says the weapon matches, the fragments are inconclusive. If you ever hunted, it's pretty normal for a bullet to blow up into pieces. So yeah, I mean, so this is, for those who, are aware, this is actually, I guess, kind of common, I think, from my understanding. I think it's fairly rare that you actually would be able to, or I don't even know if you actually can. But either way, so there you go. Yes, the bullet broke up into a bunch of different pieces. They weren't able to match it to the weapon, but I don't think that, while that is, they said it's inconclusive, I do think it's also the other way too, where it's not like it proves that they're not a match, if that makes sense. I think they very well could be. Talking a little bit out my ass here, but that's my recollection. But speaking of those talking out of their ass, we had a whole bunch of influencers in the past, 24, 48 hours, talking big time out of their ass. Here's Nick Sorter. He was the first one I saw out of the bunch. He says, breaking high-quality surveillance video has just been shown in court showing Tyler Robinson taking the shot at Charlie Kirk. Robinson is screwed. He's now on his way back to his cage via a heavily armed escort. Press were not allowed to stream the video. Only those in the courtroom, including members of the family, the public, and family members, were allowed to see the video. This week was an absolute beatdown for the defense. The death penalty is staring him directly in the eyes. Next hearing is set for September 1st here in Utah. And funny enough, here is a community note. The surveillance video presented in the July 2026 hearing showed Tyler Robinson's campus movements, but not the shot itself. Prosecution witness testified under oath that no footage captured the shooting. And you may recall, actually, when we covered this the other day, we showed old Sammy T, quote tweeted one of these videos, and we played on the show. Here is that very video of them claiming that there was no shot, no video of the literal shot itself. So let's watch this.
Is there any footage of the alleged shooting?
There is not, Judge.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that. Ms. Nestor, given that additional information and anything further from defense?
No, but I think I'd like to be crystal clear. You asked if there's any portion of this video that captures, and I believe you asked of the actual shooting. There's no video of that. There is video, however, and you've heard testimony related to this, where the shooter goes to the top of the low-C building, goes out to the edge of the building, low crawls, and then leaves after what we assume is the shot being fired. That's as close as it gets.
And the court also recognizes Utah Rule of Evidence 1102 as that is the foundation that's being laid for the admission of this exhibit. Having taken in consideration all factors, the court rules that Exhibit 12.4 is admitted into evidence and shall be played in the courtroom and may be broadcast by the media.
So there you go. Again, is there any footage of the alleged shooting? Witness, there is not. So, but then we have Jack Posobiec here. Here he is responding to all the people making these claims. Him joining in says, as far as I could tell, the new footage is the same angle. It just starts a few minutes prior to this one. It says includes the run to the ledge, prone position, the shot, and then starts here. And what he's sharing right here is this video. The renowned one. Many of you guys remember. You can see how cleared up it is now. You guys may remember when we were looking at super grainy footage initially of this guy jumping off this. Let's see. Let's play this. You can see it'll zoom in as we play it. So here, we remember analyzing this months ago. This guy jumping off the roof. We initially had a much blurrier version where it was kind of hard to tell what he was doing. He's pretty obvious in this one. He's throwing something on the ground. There's something on the ground next to him. He picks it up. It looks like a gun maybe obscured by like a towel or something. And we had talked about quite a bit. They're like, hey, what the fuck is up with this? Why do we not have any video preceding this? So, one second. Let me see. Look at this video. By the way, you can actually see, I think, him for a moment running. You can see him behind the building for a moment. If you look, I know you probably can't see for shit. Actually, you can see him on the other side of that little atrium thing there too. You can see that little body moving there. Sorry, I know this is probably awful since you guys are probably watching this on the phone. By the way, you can see him back there. You see a little body moving. A black outline is basically a silhouette, really, is all you see here. You see it coming across. But we had talked about this before. We'd said, like, hey, why does it only start here? I don't think I'd actually ever seen him, like, on the other side of the atrium before where the shot would have been taken. So now look right here, literally where this thing starts. If you look in the very top left-hand corner that they're zooming into, that is where this tiny little little silhouette. And it's like basically maybe 2 or 3 pixels at this point from this distance. And so we are to assume that, what preceded this, because you can see him in the very edge, just right about where he would have taken the shot. So he probably just got up out of prone is the idea here. So likely what they're talking about is literally this video of him going into prone and taking the shot. Now, here is where I think they're playing Jew games here, little J legalistic games. We're like, well, wait, I saw him take the shot, and you can't tell me what I saw and didn't see. Because, like, technically this may be the video of the shot, but it is like a video from damn near goddamn like a mile away, and you're like looking at 1 pixel that we cannot really in any way, shape, or form identify as Tyler Robinson, let alone in any way, shape, or form identify an actual shot taking out. Maybe if you zoomed in on the tiny pixel, maybe you could see it jump for a second and you'd be like, oh, that must be where he took the shot. I have no idea how you can any way, with any sort of semblance of honesty, try to look someone in the face and be like, yeah, I can tell when he shot. But, I mean, I guess how can you really prove him wrong? This is technically probably when the shooting is occurring, but this is the video they're talking about that everyone's making a thing out of, I believe. I mean, maybe we'll be proven wrong, but that's what I've seen, what I've collected from all the people, is it's almost certainly this video, which in a certain big picture way, I do find it funny that like we spent months ago so much time analyzing this video and also making hay about how like why is it weird look how weird is it cuts off at this point, why do we not see anything more? It would very clearly would have like we would be able to clearly see him. Now keep in mind we were getting the footage like this basically, like this, whereas the actual footage is this way zoomed out. So we were initially the footage we were getting was zoomed in. And in the video, he's on the roof he jumps off of is closer to the camera, so more clear. Whereas you guys probably, like I said, can't even see where he is, where we would have taken the shot. That's how the difference in the video here. So just pointing out how ridiculous this is. This is likely the shot, but I do find it interesting in a big picture way how they have created this perception of like, oh my God, there actually is a video. And so it gives us like, oh, holy shit. You're like, wow. And then it makes you think there's something big here. But then if you sit down and think for a moment, you're like, oh yeah, but like, we can't tell who the fuck this is. So I think it's just this like idea that we've granted importance since we spent so much time on it and we forgot, even from the jump that like, how will we even know if that was Tyler Robinson back then? There's no way we know this Tyler Robinson, let alone if he was taking a shot. So here's the supposed video. Moving on. Here's Jack again. Here's him saying, nobody's going to tell me what I didn't see what I saw. So here he is. Of course, the audio's out. Give me 1 second. All right, here he is. He's back. Sorry. Audio was out.
Of course, people now who, are going around saying that, Jack, you didn't see what you saw in the courtroom. You didn't see that video. You didn't see what was on there. Blah, blah, blah. You didn't see this. I'm like, no one is going to tell me that I didn't see what I saw. So let's just leave it right there. That's number one. No one is going to tell me that I didn't see what I saw. Okay. And I have enough training, experience, and background with firearms to know that when you see a man who is in a prone firing position, take that position, aim, then flinch, then get up, entire body flinches, then get up and run away, I know that means a shot was just fired. I think a 5-year-old would know what that means.
I gotta be real. I don't even think you'd be able to see the flinch here. But like, so in a certain sense, Pasobic's correct, but it's also like, who gives a shit? Like, you saw like 2 pixels jump.
So no, I'm not going to play this game of being like, well, no, we're not going to play that game. And there are other people who saw it as well. Local news is saying they saw it. So please, we're not going to play that game.
All right, here's Candace again. Here's her saying, well, then now they're all backtracking, saying we meant the video shows him in the prone position. There was no shot. But I think that technically here, those still clinging to the shot thing are more just saying like, well, I think I could tell he shot, because you could probably likely make out that thing go into a prone position. Maybe I doubt you could even really see a jump. And even then, the jump you would see from that even the jump you would see from that pixel, I think from that distance probably wouldn't actually correspond to being the jump from like a shot, like, because there's not a ton of. I mean, yeah, you might get like with a 30-06, you usually get a good amount of recoil, but like as small as a pixel we're talking there, I really don't think you could even make it. Like we're talking this, and like from where he's like a couple pixels, so I don't even think they would pick that up. But either way, now they're backtracking and saying we saw him in the prone position, which I guess that's more okay, sure. So she's saying these dummies don't realize that both videos, 12.4 and 12.1, were already debated, explained, and shown on day 2 of the trial. Really is a study, and it really is a study in how dishonest influencers are willing to be for money. Here is Ian Carroll to kind of walk us through this a little bit. No. Of course, it's being glitchy. Here you go. Now it should work. All right, here you go. Sorry.
As I was finishing recording everything, all the USA influencers were filing out of court with this crazy new story about this video that they all saw at the end of the very last day after the cameras were off. So none of us got to see it. They apparently got to see this crazy high definition video that was zoomed in that showed Tyler Robinson taking the shot. Except there's some problems with that. It turns out that it's actually just the same video footage that we already got from the same surveillance cameras that we already saw. Same resolution and everything. They just used a video editing program to zoom in on it. So I'll let you make up your mind as to whether you think that that qualifies as 4K video that clearly shows the shot. Yeah, it's all very transparent at this point. We got the Erica Kirk lawyer, Teep USA lawyer, asked them to show this video off camera on the last day when they packed the house with a whole bunch of Teep USA influencers. So then all those Teep USA influencers could just happen to come out after court on the last day of court and have this crazy story about this footage that you didn't see, but they did. Trust them. It was crazy. It sure showed what happened. Except the problem was that Brandy and Billy of Brandy and Billy's show, they were there. Some real journalists were there in the house. In fact, they literally slept on the concrete in order to get slots in line because there was only 14 of them. So they stayed overnight on the concrete so they could get in. And they saw the video and they immediately called bullshit. This is their court wristbands. Brandy posted saying, "I was in the courtroom today. There is no high quality zoomed in footage showing anyone taking a shot. The video shown is the same distance as the footage of Tyler jumping off the roof shown in this screenshot. Tyler. I have no idea why people are claiming otherwise. They know the video isn't going to be released publicly, so they're misrepresenting what was actually shown in court. Whoopsies." And that started a firestorm. They tried to discredit Brandy.
Robinson's face. It could be anyone. It literally could be anyone. It does not zoom in well enough at all for you to be able to tell who it is. You can see someone crouching down. You cannot see anyone pulling a trigger. There is no sound. People are saying oh, there was sound. You could hear the gunshot. That is an absolute lie. No sound at all.
Score one for real journalists. Shout out to Brandy. Shout out to Billy. Give them a follow if you don't already. Don't believe the psyops. Conspiracy theory.
All right. Now, let's moving on past that. Let's check in on the old Bussy himself, Lance Twiggs. He has entered the courtroom, sort of, not really, not in person, but via media correspondence. But I did want to, give you guys a little bit of a blast from the past. We talked about the other day how there were new text messages that were released that seemed to be quite incriminating, although it's like you still then got to match you got to prove it's him. So although I'm sure that's stuff they will do in the trial, but if we are to assume those texts are his, pretty incriminating, does not look good. But I remember when I was reading those being like, wow, this totally sounds like what I would expect, someone in their 20s to sound like, which was odd because it kind of flies in the face of something we had seen, in the past, in this case, a correspondence between Tyler and Twiggs. And I just wanted to remind you guys of that correspondence because it was like, I almost was like, was that even a thing? Because it just seems like now they're talking normal. Whereas they were talking weird before. Many people are like, "Oh, this is the feds, using AI to make up their shit." But here it is. It's Tyler Robinson says, "Drop what you're doing. Look under my keyboard." Says the roommate looked under the keyboard and found a note that read, "I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk. I'm going to take it." It says, "What? You're joking, right?" Tyler Robinson says, "I'm still okay, my love, but I am stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I gotta grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. I am sorry to involve you." It says, "You weren't the one who did it, right?" He says, "I am. I'm sorry." Which I think there were other ones that were weird too. I remember this one particularly, but this was definitely weird. Now Richard Spencer here thinks this is perhaps implies that Lance Twiggs was involved or as well, but I just wanted to remind you guys that this was a thing. But he'd end up showing up in trial, like I said. Here's Howling Mutant saying, "I'll tell you one thing, if I ever get brought up on some charges and my trans girlfriend shows up in boy mode, they're gonna have to add some new charges." Here's a picture of the guy looking creepy as hell, and along with that picture, I already also have a video. And of course, StreamYard pooped the bed, so give me 1 second to bring it back up. Oh my God, StreamYard's been glitching like crazy today. Sorry, guys. Let me try this one more time. All right, here is the... Fuck! I had it up and then I brought it down. Give me 1 second. Damn it, I keep fucking fumbling the ball here. Here we go. Now I think I got it. Nope, I still don't have it. 1 second. Almost there. Here we go. Got it. All right. Here is a video. Here is Lance Twiggs, an interview or a recorded interview that they submitted to the preliminary hearing here. And by the way, we talked a little bit about the talked about the immunity that a lot of you have talked about with Lance Twiggs last night. We talked about, I think, in the last Morning Dump as well. From my understanding, is the immunity he's being given, that a lot of people are making a big deal about, is essentially all it does. Use immunity, I guess is what it's called. And essentially what that means is that it's only for the purposes of the trial. And what that means is, let's say he does admit to some sort of crime of some sorts here. It means they can't use that, his court admission, as some sort of beginning point for a investigation or whatever. Like, they can't use that to incriminate, but they can use other things. Like in his real life, let's say he says, I stole something from Bobby on the stand. Like, they can't use that to get him for it. But like, let's say Bobby found proof he stole something from him in real life. You're like, but they'd still be able to do that. Just because he admitted it in court, that doesn't mean like, well, now I'm protected from that forever, or something. So just on that real quick. Now let's play this clip. This is only 45 seconds. I feel we just play a little bit of it. This person says, listen, at 33, who is Matt? He doesn't say Tyler, he says Matt. So keep an ear out for that. Maybe that'll be significant. Let's watch this.
Okay, my name is Lance Twiggs. And do you know Tyler Robinson? Yes, I do. Yeah, I do. And this is the same Tyler Robinson that's been charged with the shooting of Charlie Kirk? Yes.
Before we go on, I realized my mic was muted at the outset. Was yours on? Your microphone? Again, I placed you under oath. Just to make a record, I'm going to do it again. You do solemnly swear that the evidence you shall give in this issue shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes. Okay, sorry about that interruption. All right, so you said when you first met you were roommates?
Yeah.
Okay. And then?
That is weird. He says when you just met Matt, you were roommates. So I don't know, maybe some sort of weird slip, but weird.
And at some point, your relationship progressed to something more than just roommates, is that right? Mm-hmm. When was that?
Okay, my name is Lance Twiggs.
And do you know Tyler Robinson?
Yes, I do.
Here's another clip, real quick. Here's another one of him saying that apparently, according to him, Robinson didn't talk much about politics. So let's watch this.
He was someone that my friends invited.
Okay. Did you and he ever talk about politics?
He did more than me. I don't really keep up with politics very much. He'd usually talk about stuff he heard on the radio on his drive to work in like their work car, since it sounds like their whole crew went in the same car most of the time. But I wouldn't say super consistently, because it wasn't a topic I really contributed much on.
What about Charlie Kirk? Did you ever talk about Charlie Kirk?
I personally had never heard him talk about Charlie Kirk before specifically.
Okay. How about political issues? So did you ever talk about gender identity issues and LGBTQ rights?
No, not really. Usually if he did talk about politics stuff, it was relating to Trump or current policies being issued or voted on, I think. But yeah.
All right, one more video, and then I'll move on past this. Here's one more clip of Lance Twiggs.
September 11th. So this is the day after the shooting.
Yeah, I saw him when I woke up. Like I said, he was up and around doing a lot of stuff around the house. And then I think I saw him after that message where I said I'll come home and say I'm doing laundry, because I didn't want him going to my parents' house right then when he said there was probably cops outside. So I went back home, and it was just him there, and I said bye to him, and then he drove off. So I just went back to my parents' house.
And did he talk about what he had done?
Didn't go into detail. I just asked him in person if what he said was true the night before, and he said it was. He started crying a little bit and said he wishes he hadn't done it. and then kept going around and just doing stuff, I think, to keep himself busy or distracted or something.
Do you recognize the person in these images?
I wouldn't say it with 100% certainty just because of camera quality, but that looks like him in terms of the shoes he's wearing, the sunglasses. I don't think I'd specifically seen him wearing that hat, but he was usually wearing a hat.
I think those are like Converse shoes too, by the way. They're just gray Converses, to be clear. Now, I never noticed the shoes in those two, and I will say that is, I guess I wouldn't say damning, but it's a little bit more indicative of it being him, but it is pretty just standard shoes. I feel like the shirt there would probably actually be more of an identifying thing for him, which I don't think he's saying anything about.
And then jeans, so it definitely, especially the bottom, the last two, definitely do look like him.
I'm going to back up 10 seconds because I want to see if maybe I missed it and he said something about the shirt. Because I know it sounds ridiculous, but let's say you did have a live-in bussy. I'm a dude. I mean, how many shirts do you, I know there's a lot of dudes in my chat here. How many shirts do you even regularly go through? So, like, although now I say that, though, I guess if I was going to go kill a prolific individual, I probably wouldn't wear one of my regular shirts. I'd probably wear a shirt I don't regularly wear. But either way, I just feel like I don't know, like my wife would be able to be like, yeah, that's one of Josh's, or that's one of Jose's shirts or whatever. Anyways, let's keep going. I'm curious if he's saying anything about the shirt, because I just really feel like, yeah, your boyfriend would be like, yeah, that's totally his shirt.
In terms of the shoes he's wearing, the sunglasses, I don't think I'd specifically seen him wearing that hat, but he was usually wearing a hat.
I'm going to back up a little bit more.
And in these images?
I wouldn't say it with 100% certainty just because of camera quality, but that looks like him in terms of shoes, wearing sunglasses. I don't think I'd specifically seen him wearing that hat, but he was usually wearing a hat. And then jeans, so it definitely, especially the bottom, the last two, definitely do look like him.
What about Charlie Kirk? Did you ever talk about Charlie Kirk?
I personally had never heard him talk about Charlie Kirk before specifically.
Okay.
All right, well, let's move on. Here's Sean McCarthy again saying, why in the world would this be necessary except to destroy evidence? What he's referring to here is a tweet from Stu Peters with new pictures from the excavation of Charlie's crime scene show that they really did remove 10 plus inches of earth before paving it over. Total cleanup job to prevent anyone from inspecting the soil beneath Charlie's feet, which, I mean, I don't know. This is another one of those ones people try to play down. I still am like, man, I think it was like 5 days or something after the fact when they, completely gutted this area and redid it and everything. But yeah, here's some photos from it. So which seems like quite a bit of overkill to me, but I mean, I don't know. What do I know? They really did just go down deep and yank that shit up and put new stuff in there. So I don't know. It seems a little bit like overkill. I don't know. It probably would have been helpful if they had like maybe a picture of after the fact. Maybe they did something different here than before, or maybe a before and after would be helpful to give. Maybe they did something new here and that's why they, took up so much of the ground. But I know, I'm not going to lie, it looks a little bit like what the fuck is going on here. And last for today, another one to leave you with, this is definitely in the realm of weird, but I have no idea what the fuck to make of it. You guys tell me in the comments, what the hell do you think of this? Because this is a bizarre one. Here's a tweet from Ken Silva. It says, every single judge in the Middle District of Tennessee has recused themselves from the lawsuit between Charlie Kirk's former bodyguard and Candace Owens. Reason not stated. Now, to back up a little bit, for those who aren't aware, was it Brian Harpole, which has been one of the people who has been the subject of Candace's ire for, I think, some semi-decent good reasons, although some of it seems like maybe getting a little bit over your skis. But apparently he's trying to sue her. So this is an old post where Charlie Kirk's ex-security guard seeks an order for Candace Owens and Mitch Snow to preserve their records, which he says show that they conspired to defame him. So he is essentially trying to sue them for defamation, and he's not been able to find a judge in the Middle District of Tennessee because every single one of them has recused them, which would be like a conflict of interest sort of thing. So I have no idea why there's a conflict of interest or some reason why literally every judge in the Middle District of Tennessee is, feels like they're not fit to rule on a Candace Owens court case. So find that interesting. Maybe we can get Tyler back on here one of these days and see, like, is that actually significant? That seems fucking weird to me, that's for sure. But with that, let's roll for the chat one last time to get on out of here. We're definitely cutting the second segment, the MAGA influencer op. Maybe we'll talk about it tomorrow. We'll see, unless something else takes more importance. But with that, let's roll through, say our hellos, good mornings, any goodbyes. And let's get out of here. Have a good day. I have Matt Wolfson coming back on the show tonight, so around like 8:45-ish p.m. for the patrons. We'll be. I haven't read the piece we're going to be talking about yet tonight, so I'm not quite sure what we're talking about. But we will be there. We will be shooting the bull. Good morning, Bug Fights. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Fire Pixie. Good morning. John Black says Clinton Tim Pool could actually fuck. I wouldn't care. Now, if they organize influencer fights, I'd watch Ben Shapiro get knocked out by Clunt and Candace clawing Pim Tool's eyes out. Now, that would be fun for sure. Good morning, Sean Newman, who says, yes way, Jose. Good morning, Tower Gang NPZ. Good morning. Good morning. And then Jose posted about how did someone miss his giant ass head. For those who aren't aware, like I thought it was just peachy to in the like I think within like the hour or so after Charlie Kirk's getting shot to post a picture of Stevie Wonder with a fucking like AR and I can't remember the caption, but it was something along the lines of like, how the fuck did they miss his head or something. The wording was very specific. I want to be very clear. Nothing about the wording lended it to me being happy about it or wishing that it would happen. It was just literally a stupid joke of like, how the fuck could an assassin miss his head? Like, what the fuck? You got a shot off and you missed the biggest thing. So, what else we got? What's up, Q Bertamo? Back up in this motherfucker. What is up? Who else we got? Good morning, Mustache. Good to see you. It has been a while. It's been a while. I've been missing you, my friend. Always good to have an expert anti-Semite in your corner, and I have been missing you. Who else we got here? Sounds like a fag fight, says Q Bertamo. Yes, this very much is fag fight stuff here. Okay, Tom says Candace's Nick Slop. So nice. What else? He's Mustache again, talking about Tim Pool, saying likely a Fed. Probably, I'm not going to lie. Although when I say that, I want to be very clear because the people I have gone on the IRL like twice. I've not seen anything. I'm not coming from any sort of position of knowledge where I know anything more than you guys. There's not anything I've seen behind closed doors. I'm like, Tim Pool's totally a Fed. I'm going off the same information you guys are, just to be very clear. He said his job was to detail Occupy Wall Street. He became the voice of the movement, then blows up. Later becomes an Israel apologist. I'd say Pool is a Fed. Yeah, or at least like chained to the algo at the very least. Because you can also, I feel like his actions are also largely explainable by like what he was trying to be, what he was trying to appeal to. And also if you think about the old paradigm of like YouTube and all the, when, especially pre-Trump, when all the other, media establishment folks were at full force, when the Tim Pools of the world were like kind of this like in between like the peoples like me and like the CNNs. So he still was kind of in that realm. He was in that window of respectability, I guess, while still sort of being like, oh, I'm the new thing. So yeah, I don't know. So I can also see that as being like just riding, essentially appealing to the algo. So because it's like, you got to think like he's creating a show. He's trying to see what succeeds. And so he's like kind of in the market in sorts. And obviously there's aberrations in the market because we don't live in a true free market. And so I think that is kind of could be why we see things like Tim Pool's where they're reacting to incentives that shouldn't be there due to the like artificial nature of that market and with like the Fed's finger on the scale. So doesn't necessarily mean he's a Fed. He could just be someone who's reading the tea leaves, kind of feels what in certain moments will succeed. I just think what may succeed now isn't what used to be able to succeed under the previous paradigm. And I think he hitched himself to that format, or maybe not format, formula or methodology, I guess, early on. And so now I think he's just kind of like limited himself. So it just kind of is what it is. What else we got? John Black says, I thought he said I've never seen a dildo in real life. Okay. That's not, okay. Now I don't know why I brought it up now. What else we got? Mustache, don't trust Candace, Tucker, Poole, Ian Carroll, Kiriaku, etc. Exactly. Bingo, bingo. Who else we got? Marmac, I find it very bizarre, though, that Charlie was very vocal about being against new wars, and I have yet to see TPUSA carry the water. Yes, very bizarre. Not gonna lie to you. This is the stuff where I say, like, vibe-based, like, it doesn't make sense what they're doing, but I just haven't really seen anything in the way of evidence other than just weird stuff yet, unfortunately. Seems like they cover their tracks very well, unfortunately. Exactly, Martin X says, even if you think, oh yeah, it was Tyler Robinson that killed CK, you got to admit all the head peeps at TPUSA have acted very odd. Yes, which, I mean, I guess in similar style to what I talked about with Tim Pool, it could be like they are like have that similar sort of audience capture I was describing that Tim Pool sort of does. So maybe that's why, and maybe that has something to do with it. Although, yes, I definitely lean towards what the fuck is going on here. Cubert says, I can't even confirm that Tyler Robbins is a real person. Same here, brother. Good morning, Carissa explains it all. Good morning, good morning. Tom says, Candace is a queen slot vendor. For sure. What else do we say? What else we got in here? Man, we went for a while, didn't we? I'm just going to scroll through and look for new one. Aggressively agreeing. Good morning. This is anticipating the ceiling pigeons. No ceiling pigeons here. What were we playing earlier? What made you think we were going to get ceiling pigeons? What else we got? Tom says, MLK having no exit wound means a bullet broke up inside him. People are so retarded. So true, King. So true. Keep that neck strong, everybody. Drink your milk. Aggressively agreeing. Says, imagine what the CIA agent thought when he missed the chest and hit the neck instead. Says, fuck, that's going to be obvious. Yeah, if this had been a chest shot, there'd be far less debating here. Like it'd be far more in the realm of believability, I guess. John Black says, I don't think you can use enhanced video in court. Put a Tyler on. Yeah, I need to get Tyler back on one of these days. Maybe sometime soon. I should check in with him and see what it's looking like. Good morning, Pure Jonas. No one can tell me what I didn't see what I saw. I'm a carpenter. I saw what I see. Pretty clever there. I like it. Good morning, One Chick Chris. Good morning. Good morning. Saying what's good. Just chilling. Wrapping up. Tom 3 says, upward angle of shot combined with the mic going the opposite direction is got what got me. Look like we got a mic guy. I'm open to the mic thing. I'm just not like I don't know. I'm not committed to it, I guess. I feel like some stuff just doesn't really vibe with me, but I don't know. I'm no explosive expert. Mustache, he quit his job and moved from Arizona to Southwest Washington. Well, I hope that works out for you. I hope you got something else lined up. And you definitely should watch more TMD episodes going forward. Yeah. Hope to keep a secret till I die of old age. Spills the beans immediately. Yeah, I can identify with that though. Good morning, JC. I can totally identify that. What else? Okay, we're getting to the end. We're getting to the end of the chat. We're getting to the end. What else we got? Jeez, damn, Q Burnamos has got an easy 200 shirts. That's wild. That's a wild move. John Black does not own any No Way Jose shirts. Well, they were a limited time. Little did I know. They were a limited time edition. I don't even know where you could get those now. I think at some point me and Jacob have talked about, I think he's getting ready to do like merch stuff or something. So I think Jacob might be some sort of something close to my next Top Lobster, because I have no intention of handling merch whatsoever. But I have no problem letting other people, if there's anyone out there who wants to run a merch store, I have designs I have no problem giving you. I have no problem stealing from Puerto Ricans. Although, to be very clear, I'm obviously joking. I don't think it's actually stealing. And some of those, not all of those designs are from Top. Some designs are not. But anyways, so if there's anyone out there who wants to make a few bucks, run a merch store, if you want to beat Jacob to the punch, I think Jacob said he's going to at some point, hit me up. I would be happy to let you run it. I would even plug it in the show for people who ask. What else we got? Alien Big Cat says, great. I thought it was okay. It's an okay episode. I thought it was just a fun episode. Thank you, though. Good morning, Mr. Mudbutt. Said, what's up, Dumpers? What is up? Mustache says, love Wilson. He is dope. I do love him big time. Who else we got? Everyone talking shit about Tim Pool. That's always nice. Good morning, Willis FX88 says bring back Tower Gang, as John Black called it. Though Tower Gang is dead. I don't know. I mean, the longer it goes on, it's like what the first 48. Like we're well past that. Like I don't think we can revive it. I mean, I guess I'd be open to it. I think at this point, like if there were to be something like Tower Gang, it should be probably something that gives homage but isn't literally Tower Gang. I think Tower Gang is dead. Now it could be something similar that rises in its place. Like I said, I think I saw I don't know if they were planning on doing it or if it was just a thumbnail they did, but I know I saw the NDS guys did a Tower Hang thing once I saw, and it just, like I said, it could have just been the thumbnail, but either way, who knows? Maybe some sort of different version, some sort of different roster, maybe some of the originals, some of the original people. I don't know, something along those lines. But yeah, I do think Tower Gang's probably dead. I mean, never say never. I mean, something could happen that really, makes this happen again or something. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I think there's still a Tower Gang channel, so I guess it's still always a possibility. What else we got? Good morning, Retardo. I don't think I said good morning to you earlier. It says, how does a transitioning twink furry sound like a grown-ass man on a stand? That's because he is a grown-ass man. Yeah, Tom says it's too late to bring Tower Gang. Yeah, it's dead. It's long gone. It's long gone. Like it's rotting in the bed. Like it should just be buried at this point. I think it just needs to get buried. We're done. Sorry. Yeah, Tom says Tower Gang is just dudes talking shit. There's nothing unique about it except the chemistry between the hosts. Just don't call it Tower anything. I disagree. I think you still could keep Tower and you could still keep Gang, but you can't put Tower Gang together. So I think that would be... So I like the idea of like a Tower Hang, maybe slightly different format, with some maybe 3-4 people or something. I feel like a hang would be less people, not less of a gaggle, maybe like 3 or 4 people, a Tower Hang. I don't know. I'd be open to seeing something like that. I wouldn't make any stink about it. Now, I guess I still probably wouldn't make a stink about it if somebody went and decided to do Tower Gang, because IP is fake and gay. But I do think it would be improper. It would be untowards. It would be disrespectful to the memory of Tower Gang, I guess you could say. But yeah, if like any of the guys then did try to make a literal Tower Gang and didn't include the original 5, I do think it would be dead in the water. At the very least, I would not endorse it. I would not support it, and I would actually frown upon it, is I guess the point I'm getting at. I would frown upon a new Tower Gang that did not consist of the original 5. So yeah, that's where I stand. I would frown on a Tower Gang, but if someone wants to take similar branding, pay homage to it, sure. But Tower Gang itself should be dead, yes. What else we got? Aggressively Gring says, get the No Way Jose chat on video and have them talk shit with you for an hour plus Toad. It's not the same though. I mean, I don't. You mean like do like a live stream session, or you mean kind of like Already Dead where we bring on people? I just don't think it. I don't know. It's not the same. Like, I mean, I guess that's true. It's not the same, but like, I guess you're saying it could be something similar, some sort of Tower something or other, something similar branding or similar thing. That's not the same. Like, it's a handful of guys who are friends making dirty, making stupid jokes and shooting the shit. Like, it's a different vibe. So I don't know. I just think it's over. It is what it is. Tom says 4 to 5 dudes with good chemistry, no guests unless they're a good hang, 0 comedians. Yeah, we probably should have in retrospect, but it takes a while to find yourself. But we did like do a lot of guests and a lot of stuff like that. And yes, in retrospect, the episodes that were the best were typically the ones that was just us. So, callers on a comedy show suck ass, as Tom33. Exactly. It's I guess kind of what I'm thinking of. Like, yeah, the idea that like you would have callers for a comedy show, it's not gonna work. Yeah, that's no. All right, let's get out of here. Sorry, I'm rambling now. I'm just shooting the shit with you guys in the chat. I have a fun outro for you guys. It's a kind of an instruction manual for if you get arrested, what you should do. I think you'd like it. So, but with that let's go ahead and get out of here. For those who want to support the show, leave a like, share, subscribe, comment, leave a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify. You can find the show on YouTube, Rumble, all the major audio podcatchers, and Twitter as well. On Twitter, that's at Tower Gang Jose. Everywhere else, it's the No Way Jose podcast. If you want to support the show the best way you can do that with money over at patreon.com/nowayjose2020. Top left-hand corner, you can see a QR code right there. Takes you to the same place as the URL, which I just said was nowayjose2020. Tower Gang, or patreon.com/nowayjose2020. The low level of $2, you get access to early episodes. I do about 1 to 2 of those per week. Keep 3 to 4 of them behind the paywall any given time. Although I'm over that right now. I've got 5. I think by Thursday I'll have 6. I need to start releasing some of those behind the paywall. I've been slacking. Also give you guys access to ad-free RSS feed. Give you guys access to Telegram, the pre-show, the post-show, and video calls. And me and Austin's weekly live call-in show Already Dead, which is last night at 9:30, Tuesdays at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Also give a big shout out to High Slow, my Patreon. It's a big thank you for their support. My previous Ghost and Tower Gang, at Learn Toad, also at Brigade D's, at Xavier CK, at _Infazeal, Tim Tuttle, at John Klubo, big fan of the show, Torn May, at Wayne Tekis, Minecraft for Kids, No Free Lunch, Jack, Mark Vestibule, Jacob Murgrad, Biblical Energy Podcast, and John Black, that beautiful bastard. And with that, guys, we'll see you on the next one. And here, like I said, here is a instruction manual on what to do if you ever get arrested by the police, how you should handle the situation. But yeah, with that, we'll see you on the next one. Love you all. Probably tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern. We'll see you all. Bye-bye.
Okay. Hey, take a picture of my... Please. Raise my balls up. Why? Please. What for? Y'all gotta see it. What's wrong with it? Just look at it, you all. Don't be afraid. You fucking... Look at what you all are gifted. Man's gotta struggle.
What?
Bust wood for his family. You don't trade nothing for your family. We're gonna get you some help, okay?
Can't fucking believe my ears right now, bro. That has got to be some of the craziest shit I've ever heard watching this. What the fuck just happened, bro?